Perfect. What's the difference between this trash bag and Brat TV? The answer is nothing. Guys, it's been over a month since I last made fun of something on this channel, and I think I'm starting to lose my mind. Don't worry though, because in today's video, we're gonna be making fun of teenagers, which is morally okay because I myself am a teenager. Okay, I'm not actually making fun of teenagers, but before I explain that, I first need to explain who/what I'm talking about today. There is this YouTube channel called Brat TV, and they produce these television-like shows where every single actor is some famous TikTok or YouTube star. From a business side of things, what they do makes a lot of sense. Every single show that Brat TV makes goes through this very simple 3-step process. Step 1, make a very below average show that is filled with a bunch of famous kids. Step 2, get all of those famous kids who are in the show to promote the show to their millions of followers. Step 3 is then to release their very below average show, and none of the audience cares because they're all little kids and their favorite TikTok stars are in it. The best example of this is their most recent show called Attaway General, starring Charli D'Amelio's sister and other kids whose names I don't know. Now, I won't be talking about Attaway General in this video, mainly because everybody already has, but it was this show that inspired me to make this video. You see, I've always been aware of Brat TV, and I've always known that it hasn't been very good, but it wasn't until I watched the very first episode of Attaway General when I started to wonder, how bad is Brat TV? You see, Attaway General is their most popular show right now, and it has a 1.0 on IMDb. So if their most popular show is absolute garbage, then how bad is their least popular show? And that's what we're going to be looking into today. The show I'll be reviewing is called Sunny Side Up, and it appears to be, based off view count at least, to be their least popular show. Now, I will admit that this show is actually better than Attaway General. However, that doesn't mean it's good. I know I made the joke earlier about how I was going to be making fun of teenagers, and let the record show, that's not what I'm doing today. I will be honest with you, the kids and teenagers in this show do a pretty good job of acting. However, the writers for the show, who are adults, did an absolute awful job, so all of my jokes and criticism will be faced towards them. Also, I understand that this show is targeted towards kids who are a few years younger than me, but like I've said before, just because a show is targeted towards younger people doesn't mean it has to suck. Now, nothing about this is super wrong, but it just kind of bothers me when someone has this big platform and they just abuse it for money. Brat TV has the ability to produce these well-written, well-produced shows, and they just don't. Now, I know I haven't shown how their show is bad yet, so I guess I'll just go ahead and do that. Oh, and by the way, there were a few times when I added my own, I guess, touch to the show, so enjoy those when they happen.
Saw you in the corner of the street. Saw you in the corner of the street while walking. You didn't have the time, and I did. Told you thank me, laughed and smiled and walked on by.
This is the story of 4 families who live on the same cul-de-sac.
Okay, so although not much was said, the first 20 seconds really give us a lot of insight into the show. We see this girl, who is referred to as the narrator throughout the entire series, start to write this story called Sunny Side Up, which means that the show is a fictional story that takes place inside of another fictional story. Interesting approach. Definitely seems weird, but it's also something that could definitely be pulled off by good writers. Unfortunately, like I've mentioned several times, the writers aren't good, and so this format ends up being an absolute train wreck. But we'll get to that later. Also, the introduction to the show is super lazy. The opening line starts with, "This story is about." That is literally the worst way to start off any story. I don't care whether it's a book, movie, or TV show. This is middle school level crap. Like, everyone knows not to begin a story like this. And I get that it's technically being written by a 15-year-old girl, but A, that doesn't make it any less lazy, and B, it's actually being written by full-grown adults who should definitely know better. Yikes, we haven't even seen any of the characters, and I'm already fired up.
In house number 2 lives Mila Wong. She's an only child, and her dad's own a Chinese restaurant that is delish. Avery James lives next door. She marches to the beat of her own drum and has no interest in joining the band. Total opposite of her brother Zane. Isn't he adorbs? Opal and Pearl Laurent reside in number 4, the mansion. They're fancy with a capital F.
Okay, so these 5 characters that were introduced are as simple and basic as they come. There is smart girl, weird girl, sport boy, rich brat girl, and other rich brat girl. Also, the way they were introduced was once again so lazy. This show is trying to spoon feed us information in the most basic way possible. Come on, let's be, I don't know, a bit more creative than that. There is nothing wrong about letting the audience learn about the characters in the first few episodes based off their interactions. I don't know, I just feel like the whole this character does this and this character likes that is just boring. And the problem is that since all of these shows are only 9 to 10 minutes long, there's no time to do that, which is why they have to resort to first grade level storytelling. And once again, this introduction, I guess, works within the format of the show, but still, it's super boring and super lazy. Oh, and one final thing, Zane is totes adorbs.
This brings us to house number 1. It is creaky and deserted. At least it was. Until now.
Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
Welcome to Sunnyside Court.
Hello? Can you tell them to stop staring at me?
Oh no. You're the only one who can hear me.
How lucky.
Ah yes, my least favorite aspect of the show. For some reason, the writers decided that it would be a good idea to have this sort of back and forth between the main character and the narrator, but the only purpose it seems to serve is to remind the audience that these characters we're trying to get invested in are fake. They really just used the narrator to explain things they were too lazy to show. It seems like the writers wanted this fun way to break the fourth wall, but they just failed miserably. Breaking the fourth wall in a successful way is such a difficult thing to do, but when it is successfully pulled off, it is amazing and mind-blowing sometimes. Take, for example, the TV show Community. In my opinion, Community does the best job out of any show ever of breaking the fourth wall. They do it in such a clever and witty way that it elevates the experience of the show. However, in Sunny Side Up, they do it in a way that pulls you out of the experience and reminds you that these characters are fake. If you haven't seen Community, first off, do that. And second off, if you don't want to watch all 6 seasons, just watch this episode because it's probably the best example of what I'm talking about. Oh, and they've been playing the same exact theme song throughout the entire show so far, and it's a little annoying now, but it gets really annoying later.
This is Lily. Her dad is an international businessman.
Oh, snacks!
He bought the house online for Lily and her aunt Dee Dee.
Seriously? Are you gonna tell my whole life story? I think those are for the animals, Aunt Dee Dee.
Yes, but aren't we all animals? Really?
What the crap? That's such a weird way to show that a character is kinda quirky. The thing though is that the idea is actually kinda funny. The execution was pretty rough, but still not the world's worst joke. Unfortunately, you can't solely rely on these, oh, weird character does weird thing jokes, because if you do, it kinda gets boring after a while. After watching other episodes of the show, I can confirm that all Aunt Dee Dee really does is say weird and dumb things. For example, in The Office, a lot of the jokes are based off Michael and Dwight doing just the dumbest things. However, they, A, show off fairly normal sides to these characters, like Dwight is a hardworking farmer and Michael is a pretty good salesman. And B, every other character in this show has the ability to make you crack up at any moment that it keeps the show kind of unpredictable. Anyway, that was a weird tangent. One final thing I would like to say before I move on is that I'm glad that the main character is starting to get fed up with the narrator, because honestly, so am I. Nothing interesting really happens for the next 30 seconds, except that Lily looks at plane tickets to Bangladesh and realizes they're too expensive. Also, she has a box that says Lily's Mice. Yeah, I don't know.
Another gift from your dad. This one's from London.
Did you know it's $1,400 to fly to Bangladesh?
Why do you want to go there?
Dad's gonna be there all summer.
You know, I hear connecting flights are cheaper.
Who are you anyway?
I'm the narrator.
That's gonna get annoying.
Amen.
Well, aren't you gonna open it?
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. That is one ugly hat. I mean, gosh dang it, that is gross. Although to be fair, that's not much of an observation because other characters in the show will later make fun of her hat. But still, I wanted to point it out.
Hey, new neighbor. Where'd you move from?
I move like every 2 years. Who even knows anymore?
Okay.
What kind of response is that? Sure, you might move a lot, but you still moved from somewhere. I feel like the writers were just too lazy to come up with an in-depth backstory for this character that they decided to explain nothing past the surface level.
Well, welcome to Sunnyside Court.
I hope I'm not expected to be Sunny.
Oh, no. It's definitely more of an ironic name. I was hoping you'd be a cool inventor.
I was hoping you would be a cool vandal who wanted to rob drugstores with me. Nobody talks like this in real life. And what was up with this interaction?
Welcome to Sunnyside Court.
I hope I'm not expected to be Sunny.
Hello, welcome to the great city of Dayton. I hope I'm not expected to date anyone. What the? We just met. Who the heck says that? The dialogue that these characters have is just so fake.
Avery likes to invent things.
That was cool, I guess. But how on earth did that make her bed? Watch this in slow motion. All that happens is the last domino falls and her bed sheets just fly up. How did that happen?
Wanna have some fun? Everybody down for that. Roll like a star, get your party on. Never gonna hold it back. I like it.
Okay, I understand that the purpose of this scene is to show how rich they are. However, how on earth is that sweater $5 grand? How is that $5,000? I saw the same exact sweater at Walmart last week for like $11.99. Like, what is that ugly sweater made out of? Human hair? Oh, you think you're donating your hair to help bald people, but in reality, it goes to these rich people so they can make ugly gray sweaters out of them. Okay, I got a bit upset, but I promise I'm back to normal. One mistake I'd like to point out by the writers is that they said she got teeth exfoliation for $800. This was clearly a joke, but teeth exfoliation is actually a real thing, but it's just when your baby teeth fall out and your adult teeth grow in. This means that her family spent $800 on a process that happens naturally. Okay, so she finally makes it to school, and part of me feels kind of bad that she's getting made fun of for wearing her hat. But the other part of me is like, yep, that's what happens when you wear an ugly hat. Also, where is that laughter coming from? They just inserted a bunch of laughs in post, but nobody on screen is laughing. This isn't an example of bad writing, but it is an example of bad directing and editing.
I hope everyone's bellies are full from Thanksgiving. If not, we'll be serving up some knowledge as we prepare for our class final.
They have group finals at Sunnyside Up. And no grades, just pure evaluations and hugs.
So, they go to a hippie school. They go to a school that is run by hippies. I don't think that's offensive, right? That's why in an earlier scene that I skipped because it was super boring, one of the teachers was wearing this.
I said I like it. Lolly, 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 lolly. We're doing it right and all together. Party gonna go all night. I like it.
I wonder who the popular girls are. I bet the leader of the group treats the other two like trash.
Are you wearing pearls today?
My mom bought them for me. Aren't they pretty?
You know the rules.
Oh, what do you know? She does. I also bet that she makes fun of the new girl.
And what are you looking at, Hathead?
Called it. Although to be fair, she did have it coming since she was still wearing the ugly hat.
Nothing.
Ladies, am I hearing conflict? Do we need to do some breath work?
I'm distracted by your hideous hat.
Use your feelings, not judgment.
I feel that ugly hat is obstructing the transfer of knowledge to many of us in this class.
If you're wondering why Pearl gets away with saying whatever she wants, she's Pearl Laurent of the Laurent family.
That doesn't explain anything. Oh, if you're wondering why Peyton can clip his toenails wherever he wants, that's because he's Peyton Burdett of the Burdett family. This scene is a pretty long one, but basically Lily and Avery discover that Mila wants to be a painter, but she can't because of her strict parents. She then asks if either of them can forge a signature. So Lily goes ahead and somehow forges Mila's dad's signature, despite having never seen it before in her life. She's just that good.
Lily, I've been looking all over for you.
What'd I do?
I wanted to talk to you about participating in this year's Cuddle. Celebrating unique discoveries, developing legendary experiments. It's like a science fair.
Why don't you just call it a science fair then?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lily on this one.
Cuddle.
The idea of teachers asking students to join the cuddle makes me kind of nervous.
How about you take a seat over there, Lily, next to Zane?
Don't stop, gonna rock your body, baby, and just get off into this feeling.
Well, well, looks like someone has a crush.
I do not.
Well, then you might want to close your mouth.
Oh my gosh, guys. Zane is so hot. Yeah, that scene was super awkward, but not as awkward as this next one.
Oh, hey, the girl that just moved. I'm Zane.
Lily. Hi.
So, what do you think of Sunnyside so far?
It's cute. I mean, cool.
All right, my scientists. How about we open up our books to chapter 3, mitosis.
Oh, this stuff is so boring.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, that was super awkward, but I do have to give the writers a bit of credit here. They kind of nailed this super awkward scene. I mean, the dialogue was super cringy, but that's exactly how it should be. Two final scenes I would like to point out before I end this video is this first one where after Lily gets paid to babysit the two brats, she is shown their class's pet hamster, and it is stupidly fake. And the other scene is this one.
Zane, what are you doing here?
Excuse me, hat girl. Just because you work for my family doesn't mean you could talk to my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend?
I did not see that coming.
Oh, snap! The one and only Zane already has a girlfriend. Mind blown. Also, how does the narrator not see this one coming? She's the one writing the show. Wow, I'm gonna be honest, it feels pretty good to complain about something again, especially since it's something that ultimately doesn't matter. Well, since I'm done with complaining, you regulars know what time it is. It's time for today's poem. Roses are red, violets are blue, Brat TV needs new writers. Oh yeah, and it's time for today's sponsor. Do you hate everything about existing on this planet? Well, so do I. That's why today's video is sponsored by an oversized trash bag. All you have to do is get into the trash bag and then throw yourself into a big garbage bin. And before you know it, all of your problems will be gone. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, you better hit the like button or else. I don't know what else, but please do it. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram for my dumb jokes. Adios.